Hi guys, welcome back to the desktop. It's Freddy here with this week's Retro RPG, and this week I would like to present these, Delta Green and Delta Green Countdown. These are alternative settings for modern day Call of Cthulhu. I'll move Countdown out of the way for a moment. But Delta Green came out in 1996, and where the standard Call of Cthulhu Modern, Call of Cthulhu Now, Call of Cthulhu 1990s, it's been through various different names, but where the standard setting just takes standard 1920s era Call of Cthulhu and brings it up to date, with you still playing reporters and occult investigators and librarians and that kind of thing. Delta Green takes a bit of a different spin on it. Coming out in 1996, it came out at the peak of the X-Files popularity, television series about occult investigators. So Delta Green kind of takes that spin on it, providing a background where the organization Delta Green itself was set up at the Battle of Innsmouth, when the government raids the town of the Deep Ones, and that led to the creation of a government department, a secret department called Delta Green. And they fight the occult for the government through the Second World War, where they fight the Karateka, which is the Nazi occult investigators who are trying to get magical power for Hitler. They fight the Russians up until Vietnam, where they get caught up in a scandal where basically they've massacred a village, so they get shut down. However, this is also part of a behind-the-scenes scheme, because the Migo, the fungi from Yuggoth, who want to manipulate mankind against the ancient old ones and the elder gods and all that, have created the grey aliens, and have crashed UFOs, and have planted stuff at Roswell, and have manipulated the US government into believing that there are aliens, and that the US government has a special deal with the aliens. So Delta Green gets shut down as the negative version of it, and the Majestic 12 take over. But let's skip through the book. Let's start with a back cover. Welcome to America at the end of the millennium. Do you know who is pulling the strings? Delta Green knows. Things from beyond space and time that lurk and titter in the shadows. The slow rot at the core of humanity, the dark stars that whirl madly above. These are the true masters of the world. Delta Green has been fighting them since the 1928 raid on Innsmouth, and the fight still rages on. This book is your weapon and your guide. The largest Call of Cthulhu sourcebook ever. Inside you'll find the secret history of the 20th century and the movers and shakers who are the players in the game. Delta Green, the Outlaw Conspiracy working inside the US government to fight the darkness. Majestic 12, the clandestine agency who cuts deals with aliens and reports to no one. Saucer Watch, a UFO study group closer to the truth than they know. The Karateka, immortal Nazis who serve a risen Hitler. And the Fate, an occult criminal syndicate that knows where the bodies are buried. Plus new skills, new spells, new weapons, new mythos tomes, profiles of 36 real-world intelligence and law enforcement agencies, with character templates for each, a look at the Migo biology, philosophy and operations, analysis of Cthulhu Mythos in the modern day, a factual history of US intelligence and law enforcement community, dozens of useful NPCs, campaign construction guidelines, 2 scenarios, a short campaign, and more. And it's a great book. It's by Pagan Publishing instead of Chaosium, who released Call of Cthulhu. And let's just get through. Its presentation is absolutely gorgeous. Obviously, lots of it looking like redacted documents and secret information, paperclips up in the corner. It's very nicely presented indeed. Lots of background information, lots of lovely artwork in here. Now, Majestic 12's blue team is looking for your investigators. I'm trying to think what else to say. Although all of the Cthulhu Mythos is presented in here, King in Yellow, Loigor, most of it is about the Migo and their plot to fake aliens. Oh, gone a little dry there. And manipulate the US government. So what they've done is they've faked aliens and UFOs and come to a deal with the US government to cover it up. So when things are seen flying in the sky, usually it would actually be from UFO themselves. But the US government assumes it's the UFOs, assumes it's part of their deal with the aliens to cover it up. So cover up the MiGo without ever really knowing that it's the MiGo. It's a conspiracy within a conspiracy. It's very nice. So we've got the information on Delta Green themselves. The way they operate now is, since they got shut down in the 1960s, the generals and admirals and CIA directors and all that run the agency still exist and are still loyal to Delta Green. And they bring in lower agents, like the players. So you may be an accountant in the FBI who gets drawn into the conspiracy. You may be FBI field agents, you may be CIA agents, you may be somebody who works for the Library of Congress. You're whoever's working for the US government and useful to Delta Green. And you're formed into secret cells, a conspiracy within the government to protect the United States. Very much like Mulder and the X-Files are not official at various times in the TV series. We've got the Karateka, who are immortal Nazis. What else we got in here? The Deep Ones, of course, some of whom from the Raider Innsmouth are still kept in storage. Individuals. The Majestic 12 and all their different projects where they're experimenting on mind control and drugs and genetic manipulation and all the lovely, weird stuff that you could want out of a conspiracy. As I said, lovely artwork. Saucer Watch, who are the crazy people who watch the skies for UFOs and are getting caught up in the conspiracy, but they've got lots of information which would be useful to Delta Green. Sightings of things. The Fate, which are gangsters who use magic, basically. And then we've got the Appendices, security classifications, mysterious manuscripts, lots of top secret documents revealing information. An adventure, another adventure, and then we're kind of into secret agencies in the background. Yeah, we've got the secret agencies in the background. But Delta Green sets up a very, very nice setting. Very interesting. And Countdown, I'll bring it back out now, is an add-on for it, which basically takes the Delta Green background and just expands it around the world a little. So if I flick through it, we have Pisces, who is the United Kingdom version of Delta Green. They investigate and try and exploit the Cthulhu Mythos for the advantage of the United Kingdom. The insects from Shigai, who are insect invaders who have landed somewhere within Britain. I'm trying to remember whereabouts it is. The Severn Valley. And Goatswood, who are Brian Lumley. Is it him? I believe so. I apologise to the real author if it's not Brian Lumley. But they're insects which are slowly taking over the UK. They've conquered an area by implanting themselves in humans and doing all that lovely Cthulhu-esque horror. What else have we got in here? This is still all Pisces. Pisces are a little different from Delta Green and Majestic 12, as they're trying to use... I suppose they're more like Majestic 12 than Delta Green, because they're trying to use the magic and the Elder Ones for the benefit of the UK. GRU SV8, who is the Russian version. They were basically set up during the Soviet Union and they still exist. But whereas Delta Green is kind of well funded, GRU SV8, I believe it mentions at one point that their funding was set up in the 1960s and hasn't changed So they get, like, for their entire agency, they get like $1 million or something like that, which was a vast fortune back then to fund everything. They're a bit more disposable, whereas Delta Green are experts dealing with the mythos. GRU SV8s tend to just throw bodies at things. It's a lot more gross. Because of starvation in the Soviet Union during World War II, there were a lot more ghouls. That's how they got their start off, as people began eating human flesh and making the transformation into ghouls. What else we got? The Skopsky, who are a religious cult who cut off their bits and become monsters. I don't know what more to say about that. It's body horror, and I've never been a huge fan of body horror. The Outlook Group, do I remember who they are? I'd probably have been best to look at the back cover. No future, get used to the taste of ashes. I loved that phrase. That really, I found so emotive. The Outlook Group, where Majestic 12 tests its elite. We've got Phenomenon X, a syndicated news show that pokes its camera in the wrong places. Tiger Transit, a format CIA airline in the clutches of the Choo Choo drug cartel. The D-Stacks, the American Museum of Natural History, where Jameson Wu classifies the unclassifiable. Keepers of the Faith, traditionalist ghouls fighting the lean and hungry heretic ghouls beneath the streets of Manhattan. And the Hasta Mythos, a twisted skein of surreal destruction weaving its way through humanity. So this just kind of fleshes out the world, adding a few interesting ideas, adding the ability to play in or play with the Russians or British versions of Delta Green and Majestic 12. And an enormous part of this book, at the back here, is the international federal agencies, which, what have we got? We've got 100 pages of just going into Canadian Forces Intelligence Branch, Gun Control in Canada, the Special Air Service in the Commonwealth of Australia, Colonial Intelligence Service Canada, Ministry of State Security in China. It just details every security agency in the world, which is fascinating information. Not 100% sure how useful it would be. I suppose it might inspire ideas for adventures. But anyway, that is Delta Green and Delta Green Countdown. A lovely version of the modern day setting for Call of Cthulhu, which I think works better than the official setting, if it perhaps isn't as approachable. But I love it. They are very nice books indeed. So thank you very much for watching and letting me ramble on about these two books for Call of Cthulhu, which I absolutely adore. Please like and subscribe if you like at all what I'm doing. But most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye.